All right, and so we are now recording. Good evening, brothers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I am very excited to be working with all of you in doing the Sigma Leadership Academy uh, in your roles as interns. I am very excited the work that we will do. Um, So, as you know, I'm the director of the academy. A little bit about myself. I was initiated spring 1999 at the University of Southern California, Alpha Epsilon chapter. So I was made in the Western region, spent some time in the Eastern region, and now I'm making the Great Lakes region my home. I'm living in Iowa City. So I'm the chapter advisor to Kappa Psi chapter, University of Iowa. So I'm really enjoying the experience of advising a collegiate chapter again. So that to me is very exciting and one of the many opportunities I've enjoyed about transition out of higher ed, which that was where most of my career was at. Now I'm the director of education for Sigma Lambda Gamma National Sorority Incorporated, and so some of the work that I'm doing for them mirrors the work that I've done for the fraternity and that I'm doing through the Leadership Academy. That's a little bit about myself. Um, I want to give you all an opportunity to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about you. And so if we could start with Brother Raglan.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, how y'all doing? My name is Tyler Ragland. I am a spring 2013 initiate of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated at Austin Peay State University Alpha Rho chapter. I am currently in grad school at the University of Louisville, studying college student personnel in their Master of Education program. Um, I've been almost in every leadership position in my chapter since I joined in spring 13, and I am currently in the graduate chapter here in Louisville, Epsilon Beta Sigma, and I'm also serving as the chapter advisor for TAW, which is the undergrad chapter here at the University of Louisville. I look forward to working with you all. We're trying to help better the fraternity.
Did Talk Chapter come back recently?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting story of what's going on here. So yes, but they did recently come back here.
That's what I thought. Well, thank you very much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Brother Royster.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you very well, brother.
Okay, cool. Well, my name is Christian Royster. I'm a spring 2012 initiate of the Phi chapter of Phi Beta Sigma. I definitely also can agree with Tyler. I've held every position on the e-board for my undergrad. Currently, I'm in higher education program at University of Arkansas Little Rock in my final semester in their higher education with a concentration in student affairs program. Just really excited to kind of be working with you guys. You know, just here, do work. I mean, that's me. I'm not really too special.
Wait, Christian, do you know Abby Howard?
Abby Howard? No.
Okay, she's the new FSL person at UALR. So, like, she's from my program.
Oh, that's cool, huge. I don't really be on campus that much.
Dang.
Well, thank you very much, Brother Royster. A pleasure to have you here. Brother Sirleaf.
Yes, sir. All right. So, good evening, everyone. My name's Hamed Sirleaf. I am also a spring 2013 initiate through the Lambda Psi chapter at the College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina. I am currently in my final semester of the Master of Science in Educational Leadership Studies with a option in College Student Development Program at Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I currently serve as the graduate teaching assistant for the National Pan-Atlantic Council and also the Multicultural Greek Council in the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Affairs. I've come from a small chapter, so I've done almost everything you can imagine. Well, everything except intake. But I'm just ready to learn more about how headquarters works, so I can be better at, my craft and my job, and hopefully get a job in fraternity sorority life. That's my mission. So that's really it.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And my commitment to you all in terms of why this position has started, it's while you'll be doing a lot of great work for the fraternity, we also want to invest in you. So I would like for you all to use your time here in the role and even afterwards, and use our Leadership Academy to be a springboard to help you get to where you want to go. So I'm the type of person, if you have great ideas and something, that hasn't been tried before, but, I'm willing to make it work. So just keep that in mind. Use this academy to really get what you want out of the experience. I'm going to give you an overview of the Leadership Academy, and I'm going to keep it as brief as possible because I want to spend more time talking with you all about your roles and the things that you'll be doing. So our Leadership Academy, so the Academy, we revamped the mission. So the Academy has been around since 2009. That's when the initial group was put together, the first set of faculty, and I was part of that first set of faculty under Brother Dr. Benny Harris, who's over now at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm the fourth director. After that was Brother John White, who is, I think, out of Kentucky, I believe. And Brother Charles Talbert out of Chicago, who is now actually Honorable Brother Talbert, as he was inducted into DSC, and now it's myself. So this January, we worked on revamping the mission of the Academy. So essentially, to put it short, it's about focusing on the brotherhood experience, and to me, I view Sigma as an experience. And so you, in being initiated, whether it was Alpha Rho, Phi Chapter, Lambda Psi, like that cannot be a concentration. We have to think about you all as brothers in the continuum. So it really is about the brotherhood experience and put an emphasis on collegiate brothers, but we also want to look up at alumni brothers. And now that all three of you are young alumni brothers, we also want to think about how do we develop the overall brotherhood experience. So that's that's central to the mission of the Academy. And simply for us, our vision is just we want to really create conscious brothers that engage in conscious dialogue and who are being active in their communities and serving as agents of change. So that is important to us, to make sure that we're emphasizing that within the Academy. So these are the goals, and simply put, we want to spark good thoughts, have healthy conversations, get brothers to really engage in conversations that we don't typically engage in as a brotherhood for whatever the reasons, and so have that, and provide brothers with just developmental and training opportunities. So I know that we focus a lot on leadership because obviously that's a part of the title of the Academy, but it's also more than just leadership, but it's also that personal development. So that is also very central to the goals and the mission of the Academy. We have a committee currently of approximately 45 brothers or so from across all 7 regions, and they've all been divided into work groups to focus on different tasks in order to move the Academy forward. So we're in a little bit of a building the plane and flying it at the same time, because again, with each director, some different iterations happen, but I think for me, what I want to do is create a solid structure where we have a sort of like an assembly line of sorts, where we know we have people in place to do specific jobs in order to really create the programming and keep it fresh and keep it relevant to the needs of our brothers at that particular point in time. So these are the initiatives that we want to work on, and so we want to brand it everything under what I like to call our Sigma DNA, right? And so thinking about ways in which we're going to develop our brothers, we're going to nurture them and then help them achieve their goals and the things they want in life. It's great that we can have anecdotal stories about what Sigma means to us, but I also want brothers to have tangible things they can walk away from the fraternity so that their membership means something greater than just a good time in college, but that it really helped launch them into the next phase of their lives. So we have Conscious Sigma, and that focuses on social justice and diversity. We have Leadership Sigma, and that's going to focus on the overall leadership development of the brothers. And so that is something that our international president, my brother Michael Crystal, has identified as a focus and a priority for the Academy. So in spring 2018, the team is working to really develop Leadership Sigma. And so one of the things that we want to end up with eventually is a leadership certification program so that any brother that wants to pursue leadership office within the fraternity goes through this program. So that is what we are working on. And some of you are going to have an opportunity to work on that. But at the end of this, I'm going to talk about your roles and responsibilities. So it'll make more sense then. We have Sigma ID, and that's for short for interpersonal development. And so one of the things that I learned as a chapter advisor is that for Sigma, as well as working on college campuses, is that our brothers are coming in and they're not well equipped to have certain conversations with each other. And part of it that has to do with being as men of color, particularly black men. Sometimes we're not taught how to have these conversations. It may not be a part of the culture in which we grew up in. We don't necessarily talk about that. So we really want to foster a place where brothers are learning how to take care of themselves and engage with each other in difficult conversations in healthy and productive ways. So that's what Sigma ID will focus on. Corporate Sigma, that's talking about the professional development side of the fraternity. And so we talk about we're an organization of college and professional men, so I think we really have to invest a lot more into our brothers to develop them professionally. And then there are Sigma Talks, and that's TED Talk style, and we want to have recordings of brothers talking about different issues going on in society or whatever they may have in their minds, TED Talk style. And we have a lot of great speakers in our organization, even just brothers that want to share some of their own life experiences. And we will use our Sigma Talk as a vehicle to showcase. Right, so I'll tell you a little bit about the work groups. We have 4 work groups, as I said. So we have our educational content work group, and so they're the ones looking into theories and best practices to inform the curriculum that we develop as for educational programs. And we have a curriculum development work group, and so they take the different best practices and research and theories and all these wonderful resources that were found by the educational content group, and so they develop the curriculum out of it. So they'll create the workshop or the module and think about what is the best way to deliver and so forth. Our talent development work group. So one of the things that for me is important that as an academy we think about is how do we identify facilitators. And so the current model, it's we have the Sigma Leadership Academy, and then we have the faculty, and then we expect the faculty to go out and deliver trainings. And that can be a bit limiting because, say, in the southwestern region, if you're in Oklahoma, you may not have as many brothers in that area, perhaps, that are part of the academy. But the brothers in Oklahoma, they should still have access to the same kind of facilitation, top quality facilitation, and access to the programs. So one of the things that that group has been charged with doing is identifying new facilitators, like how do we recruit them, train them, develop them, and offer them resources so that we can have a wide net of people that can go out and then deliver the curriculum the Leadership Academy creates. And then we have an online tools work group, and so looking at virtual platforms for delivering some of this curriculum, as well as they're going to engage in some assessment as well. And one of the things that's very important to me is developing a culture of evidence. So when we say the Sigma Leadership Academy has been effective, here's our data to back up the fact that we have been effective. When we deliver some kind of curriculum, if it's not working, well, we need to know about this. And so the best way to do it is, again, to develop assessments and so collect that information and then figure out what do we do with that. So that's one of the pieces that I'm going to have the online tools group work deliver on. So here's some timeline. This is the timeline that we have. Um, so we're sort of on track right now, but what I've also said to the team is that we're sort of flexible with the timeline because it's a very aggressive and very ambitious timeline. But by April, we want to roll out parts of the Leadership Sigma modules. And so even if it's one or two of them, but have something that we can deliver during that time. And so I have to follow up with the work groups to see where they are at, but I am fairly confident we can deliver something by April. And if we need to change the timeline, I am okay with that as well, because ultimately it's about delivering an outstanding product for the membership and not rushing into getting things done. So current projects, we're working on a state director training, and so back at the annual meeting, the AFA annual meeting in Atlanta, the Sigma delegation, which included all 7 regional directors, some of us were having conversations, and what came out of the conversations that were had with the brothers who are FSL, fraternity sorority life professionals, one of the things that came out from those conversations is that state directors, some are really good at their jobs, others may need some more coaching or guidance or additional development in those areas. So we're creating a state director training. So I need to do some follow-up with that to get it going. We've assessed the regional directors to get an idea of what they want. They've recommended some state directors so that we can now start putting together some trainings for them to build a curriculum out of and then start delivering it. So that's one thing that we'll be working on. There's our Thunderback curriculum. And so one of the things that I was thinking about is that we will sanction chapters, and I think accountability is great. And from a place of brotherly love, as we're in concern and also like how do we keep our chapters and brothers on a positive track so they don't repeat violations again. We don't have anything to work with them to bring the chapter back and to sort of help retrain them and understand how to be productive brothers. So the Thunderback curriculum is designed to really talk to chapters and Sigma brothers coming out of disciplinary action and really help them to reflect and then develop a plan that we can do some follow-up on to make sure that they're remaining on a positive trajectory. And of course, we added our graduate student internship, and so you all are part of that. So that's exciting, and that's one project. It's done, but it's also in progress because now that we have the interns, it's a matter of figuring out, growing the program, and so figuring out what are the things that work and what are some other pieces that we can add to help that experience become better. So again, thank you very much for really stepping in to fill this role. Of course, assessment, we talked about that. And one piece that I really wanted to do as we talk about culture for service and service for humanity, as we talk about being an international brotherhood, I really would like for us to look at doing service immersion trips, and some in the United States as well as going abroad and doing so. So I started to kick around the idea to talk to some brothers about that. And I'll keep you all posted in terms of what that can look like. But I am very committed to making sure that we can create these avenues for our brothers so that they can have a transformative experience. And the first initiative that we rolled out was our Monday Night Live, and I think some of you may have seen it and had an opportunity to participate in some of them. But essentially, these are on this Monday Night Live. The concept is developing an online professional development community, primarily for Sigma brothers, and we're okay opening it up to non-members as well, depending on what the topic is. So it's a virtual panel of subject matter experts, and they talk about and answer questions regarding a specific subject. All of these have been recorded, and we make them available for the brothers to watch later on, or anyone that wants to access it. And the last one we did was understanding Title IX, and so that, again, that's an example of us as an academy look at issues that are affecting our brothers, and then how do we then respond to them in a proactive manner. So we have 3 more coming up, and one of you will be able to work with Brother Antonio P. from University of Cincinnati to develop that content and how to put the next 3 together. So we social media and online and presence, and so one of you will be working with that as well. So we have a Twitter and Instagram account. I kind of figure those are relevant, and we also have a YouTube channel. Whoever is working with that, just thinking about what are some other social media that we can explore. If those 3 are fine, great. If we have other avenues that make sense for the kind of work that we're doing, I am open to that as well. And one of the things that I'm very adamant about, I'm very passionate about, is creating a Sigma Leadership Academy website. So that's something else that's in the works. All right, so let's talk about your assignments. So, Brother Ragland, since when we were talking during your interview, you mentioned that you want to do the marketing and social media part.
Yes, sir.
So I really appreciate that. As I jokingly say, but kind of have very seriously, I'm not a very fun person to follow on social media. I have it, but it takes a lot of effort for me to do. So I think having someone that's much more in tune with that and gets it on a level that maybe I don't is actually very impactful. And if you have a passion for doing that, that helps to drive the bus a lot further. So essentially, looking at the branding and marketing, and one thing that I would do is connect you with Brother Kevin Davis, and I'm not sure if you met him, but he is one of the most amazing people and just great brothers in our bond. He is out of Chicago. He is currently the international branding and marketing director. I don't know the title. Please forgive me for that. But he is like the branding guru of our fraternity. He was doing it in higher ed, and now he moved to the nonprofit sector. So I think that would be such a great connection for you to have, just as someone that can help mentor you as well. He's a really amazing brother. So I'm going to make sure that I make those connections in the next couple of weeks. But that will be essentially what you'll be doing. And so one of the things that I want to make sure that I make clear to all 3 of you is that whether you're leading the project or not, you won't be working on it by yourself. You work in conjunction with the academy and the committees, and so you'll be around brothers to help support you in whatever you're doing. And if ever there's a deadline or something that may not seem reasonable, maybe you want to renegotiate, we can talk about that as well, because part of it is being able to build you up that way as a professional and set you up for success. So, Brother Royster, for me, I think that I thought that you being able to work with our Monday Night Live logistics and helping Brother Antonio P think about that and help him to get that set up. Antonio is like, he works in residence life over University of Cincinnati, very astute. He does his thing on his own as well, and he is just a pleasure to work with. This is one of these programs that really it runs itself essentially because he is so effective and so efficient at what he does. And one thing that I really like about him, he has a very easygoing personality, and so he is very flexible and great to work with. As well as develop our Sigma Talk video series, and so I'm not necessarily looking at you to produce the videos, but sort of start laying out the foundation, what that can look like, what are some topics that we can research. Let's start working on finding brothers to do so, and what are the ways in which we can go about recording and all that other stuff. And again, I can get you some support with that as well. So I would look for you to be the impetus behind making that happen, but you will not be the only person working on it. And then for Brother Sirleaf, as I've mentioned to you before, our Thunderback curriculum, so really being that person that's leading the group, developing that curriculum, and also thinking about, as we're doing the facilitating component, like how do we train our facilitators to deliver, and what are some things to really think about. And I know because you have wanted to get more into facilitation, you've had some facilitation experience, and especially in terms of your role as far as wanting to be in fraternity sorority life and developing curriculum, and being able to have that experience, I thought that this would fit right in with your professional goals as well. So that is it for the overview and everything else. I want to leave the rest of the time to answer any questions you may have. And realizing that this is not your only time to ask questions, because if you're anything like me, sometimes I have like 1,000 questions come up after the event is over. And if that's you, feel free, to reach out to me, and we can talk away from the webinar and do some more follow-up afterwards. So, questions?
All right. Oh, great presentation, by the way, brother Meadows. My question was, I kind of lost you on the Sigma Talk part. I was like, I don't know what happened, but I could not hear you for a second. I don't know what you were saying right there. I apologize.
That's okay. We'll go back to it. So as far as the Sigma Talk videos, so as I was mentioning to you before, it's the concept behind, it's kind of like TED Talks, except the Sigma brothers giving their own version of a TED Talk. So for you, what I would like for you to do is think about what are some general topics that we want brothers to speak on.
Okay.
And then doing that process to recruit brothers to speak for that, and then setting that part up. We will need to talk more about the logistics in terms of how do we go about recording those, and whatever other technical assistance that will be required to make that happen. Does that help clarify for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm familiar with TED Talk, so yeah.
What are some other questions you all have, brothers?
Is email the best way to reach you with any further questions that we might think of after tonight?
You can email me. I must give you my phone number. You can text me. I think probably texting is the one piece of technology I tend to respond the fastest to. The GroupMe app also works well. I'll create a GroupMe for the group. I'll tell you, I am not one to flood your GroupMe with like 1,000 messages. If I send you a message, it's stuff we need to talk about.
Right.
And not that I don't want to talk to you all, but I have a lot of stuff to get done, right? Like,
most definitely.
I'm in some GroupMes where like people are like typing all day long, and I'm wondering, like, do you have a job? Like, do you have your job?
That's true.
Most definitely.
Jeez. What are some other questions you all have?
So for assignments, are we checking in with you every week, and there are like certain things that we get done, or are you just gonna work with us to like create these things? Just, I guess, so I know.
That's a great question. I think that the setup will depend on what you're working on and the person. And so I want to meet you where you're at. We'll have deadlines and so forth, and we'll set it up as far as what I may need from you, and set up deadlines that will lead up to the final deadline. If you're someone who works very independent, and I just give you the task and you reach out to me and ask for questions and so forth, then I'm okay with that. If you're someone that probably needs a little bit more of attention and some more connection and guidance, I'm okay with that as well, because I understand that people work at different levels. But essentially, we will talk about what is your work style, and so I'll let you know what the final deadline is. We'll have some check-ins, of course, along the way, so it's not like I'll just leave you alone, and I'll follow up with you periodically. I like structure, but I also like some flexibility, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
What other questions
Yeah,
do you have, brothers?
I know you spoke of connecting us with a few brothers to kind of help us out as far as our assignments. When can we be looking into getting that from you?
Please give me a week. Part of it is I have to balance some things I gotta do for grad school this week, as well as I'm doing a facilitation on Thursday. So in between those two things, I'm going to reach out to some brothers to make sure that I can get y'all connected with that and get you a proper game plan established. So it's going to look different for all three of you, but within the next week, my goal is to at least send you an update in terms of where we are at. How does that sound?
Okay, that'll be fine.
Perfect. And again, if you want to reach out to me before then and you have some other questions regarding that, that's fine as well. Any other questions you'll have?
Can you go back to the Monday Night Live slide that you had up, please?
Of course. Yeah, there we go.
Yes. So based on the schedule, it seems like they were very higher ed and student affairs focused. Is that something you want to keep like that, or are you kind of open to see what other things you can do with Monday Night Live?
So,
Good question.
that is a great question, and the answer is yes, we can open it up to see what other things. Part of why it's so higher ed focused is because that was the impetus behind it. And so we can open up the topics, and if we need to create a different platform for that as well, we can do that.
Gotcha.
So if you want to think about it, and just put out a list of different subjects for us to look at, I believe that, and I have to follow with Antonio, but I think in February, because that's right before NASPA, the placement exchange, we're going to focus on job, like interviewing or something like that.
That's a good one.
So yeah, so the motivation behind it is NASPA, which is student affairs related, but it is job searching is open to everyone.
Gotcha.
But to use your question just and to provide another response to it that connects to it, again, if you all see a specific need, please speak up about it and let's talk about that. And it may be that maybe for the spring we're not able to implement it because we already have where we're going. So let's not just focus on the spring, but thinking about long term. Where do we want to go? So in the fall, what can that look like, right? In the next year, what can that look like? Even in the next 2 years, so that even if you don't necessarily, if you're not in the role to do it next year, but that at least you start laying down some foundation, some vision that then can then influence what the academy then does going forward.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions, brothers?
Well, question, because it's kind of like piggybacking off of that with the Sigma talk. So the topic or subject areas that I can kind of develop, kind of thought process for, is that open as well, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Everything is open as well. Now, I'm going to put a caveat to things that sometimes we are at the mercy of our leadership. So sometimes wherever the wind blows with our leadership, we may have to go in that direction. So if that happens, I don't want you to feel discouraged. We just work with me on that as well. So I am fortunate that I have a lot of flexibility, but I also recognize that I am, myself and the Leadership Academy, all of us, we are a part of the entire whole that's Sigma.
Exactly.
But I am putting you in that situation, and so I want to empower you to craft a vision for that, come up with a variety of topics, and then we can figure out who the best brothers to deliver that and so forth. So, and we can talk more one-on-one about what that can look like, all right?
All right, cool. And can you email us this presentation tonight? I just want to look over it a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What I will do is once this is over, and I get the video link is produced, I will upload it to our YouTube channel and send it to you. And so you'll be able to read and look through it, and whatever questions you have, look at it. I mean, I'll send you the PowerPoint as well so that you have it. Well, I'll PDF it so that you can have it as well.
Awesome.
Brothers, any other questions you all may have?
I do not, but I'm sure I will think of some later on.
All right, fantastic. Well, I am all about being effective and efficient and only holding you as long as we need to. So if there aren't any more questions, I would like to thank you for your time. I am looking forward to working with you all. And as I said to you, if you got nothing else out of this, this is what I want you to take away from this, is that this is your leadership academy. As much as you'll be doing work for us, I want you to put this to work for you and to really, one, craft the experience you want to get out of this, and two, so that you can use that experience to catapult you to wherever you want your career to take you to. So, and if that's it, brothers, I am going to thank you for your time tonight.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.